Good morning, agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Targeted Loot Today, your daily farming guide for Saturday, January 30th. In this series, we cover a lot. We got the Targeted Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights for the weekly vendor resets, and of course, build and farming suggestions as well. This is Shadow Gaming, and if you're new to the channel or enjoyed this video, consider pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons below, and if you didn't, a thumbs down. Always remember to hit those bell notifications to all so you never miss a daily morning video. Comment below if you have any questions or feedback. Otherwise, agents, let's get this thing started. Alright guys, so starting off with the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are always in that big bottom left overlay that pops up right now. I highly recommend getting those contractors gloves in the clan, and over at the White House, that anarchist cookbook, as well as the mob has really good rolls on it over here at the theater. And then of course over here in the DZ West area, you want to pick up that Dark Winter. Just reroll that stability, the 8.7% stability to 10% damage to targets out of cover, and this thing is going to hit hard. Next up, we got Grupo Sombro's Targeted Loot in Dark Zone West. I recommend farming for the Door Kicker's Knock with Perfect Spark chest piece. You know, I don't really often use it, but whether it be a collectible or something you want to use on a build of your own, definitely go farm for it today at DZ West, since Grupo Sombro is rarely in the Dark Zone. And of course, make sure to pick up those Death Grip gloves at the DZ West vendor this week as well. Last two we got over here in DZ South. First off, we got Ongoing Directive, of course. Now, I wouldn't normally farm gear sets in the Dark Zones. I usually only pick out Dark Zone exclusives. You know, there's a couple of good Ongoing Directive bleed damage builds that I'll give you right now if you want to farm in the Dark Zone anyway for it. The first one is probably my favorite one. It's Ridgeways Pride, 4 pieces of Ongoing Directive, and the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. And I always run that one and this other one with the Carnage with Perfect Sadist and the Scorpio Shotgun. The second one is 4 pieces of Ongoing Directive, a Badger Tough Backpack with the Creeping Death Talent, and the Vile Mask. And then moving on to the main point of today would be DZ East. So of course, over in the Dark Zone East, we got Providence Defense as targeted loot, thank goodness. So today you could farm 2 really good things, right? One's a Dark Zone exclusive, that's the Gift Backpack, which comes with Perfect Vigilance. Now, while it doesn't do any additional damage, you know, that normal vigilance does, it does decrease it from 4 seconds to 3 seconds until it kicks back on. Otherwise, you still can farm the Sacrifice with Perfect Glass Cannon if you want to in the Dark Zone East today as well. That, of course, amplifies all damage you deal by 30%, but it also amplifies all damage you get by 60%, so you become extremely squishy. Other than that, that's about it for the Dark Zones and vendor reset highlights. Let's go check out the north side now. Alright guys, Northside Targeted Loot highlights. Starting off with the invaded missions this week, we got Federal Emergency Bunker, and then of course Potomac Event Center, and then Lincoln Memorial. And then the final 2 strongholds is Roosevelt Island, and then of course Tidal Basin Stronghold. Back to the north side, I do not recommend ever farming for skill attachments at Camp White Oak, you know, or in general ever. Next up, I do recommend farming for mass. So for mask, you got 2 exotics. You got the Coyotes mask for your DPS builds, especially if you have allies. You know, only one of you guys needs to be running them for that extra crit hit chance and crit hit damage. And then the second one for the Vile Mask, it's amazing for skill damage and status effects. And one of my subscribers just showed me recently a new build that, you know, you guys should check out for sure, from running Butcher, that utilizes 4 pieces of Hardwired, and then I believe it's a Vile Mask and a China Light piece with Glass Cannon on it. And that thing's really crazy. I think he runs the Blinder and something else. I forget. It's almost exactly like the way I run my Rigger. And I just thought that it might be better, but I'm still testing it out to see if Rigger or Hardwired is better for that set. And then of course you could also farm the Punch Drunk Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it, which is perfect for an all high-end headshot damage build, so definitely get that, or farm Douglas and Harding if it's available today. And then the last 2 we got is holsters at Coney Island Amusement Park. So you got 3 exotic holsters, the Waveform, and then of course Imperial Dynasty holster and Dodge City holster. Dodge City holsters for pistol damage builds or pistol or headshot damage builds. Imperial Dynasty is great with Eclipse Protocol, you know, to set everything on fire for status effects and skill damage. And then the Waveform just kind of does it all. It gives you skill damage up to, I believe, 33%. And then, of course, you know, that's what I use on my turret and drone build. It unlocks at Season 4 level 90, and if you didn't get that, you know, you could just farm, you know, holster targeted loot. Otherwise, there's a named holster that drops inside the light zone that isn't the claws out, and that's called the shield, and it gives you 50% extra shield health. And that's equivalent to a whole extra skill tier worth of shield health. And then lastly, we got Negotiator's Dilemma at Manning National Zoo. There's all sorts of ways to run this, and I always put that double LMG build in the top title card. And that's because it's the main one I run. You know, it's 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma and the Coyote's Mask. And then I like to run either the Grupo Sombro gloves if I'm running like the Eagle Bear or, you know, an SMG, or I run the Contractor's gloves and run a Pestilence or Bullet King with that. And then of course, Kinley College is closed. In the summit, you pick your own target to lose. So let's now go check out what we got on the Washington, DC, West, and East sides now. Alright guys, West Side target loot highlights, starting off with the gear set. So I already went over Hardwired. You know, you can farm for it and try out that 4-piece one I mentioned at the north side. Otherwise, aces and eights at DARPA Research Labs. You could slap together a great headshot damage build with this. You just use 3-piece aces and eights, 2-piece Araldo Holding, 1 being a backpack with Composure or Vigilance on it. And then of course put that Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter on it, and I always run it with the Mantis and then the Echems Long Stick with Perfect Ranger. Next up, Strikers at West Potomac Park. Now I always recommend running only 3 pieces of this for an LMG build, like with Frenzy attached to it. Or if you're going to be running like maybe any LMG build really, or the Merciless. That's about it. I never use this. We also got Haunted You today at Tidal Basin if you're looking for that Force Multiplier backpack with Perfect Combined Arms. That gives you 30% skill damage every 3 seconds you land a shot. Great alternative to tech support, which gives you 25% skill damage, but it lasts for 25 seconds. It's basically always active. Next up, we do have Bellstone at Roosevelt Island. You can farm the Everyday Carrier perfectly efficient. I never use this chest piece. I don't really even know what it does, to be totally honest. Comment below if you do and you like it. Otherwise, remember the Liquid Engineer with Perfect Bloodsucker backpack is a Dark Zone exclusive, so you're going to need backpack targeted loot or Bellstone in the DZs to get it. Back on the last 2 gear sets, we got Hunter's Fury at Foggy Bottom today. I'll put my favorite Hunter's Fury build in the top title card right now. That's 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Memento backpack, and the Death Grip gloves. And that's going to give you an additional 10% armor on kill, where you're left with a sliver of health at the shooting range. So where you take all the damage down until you have nothing left, you kill 1 NPC and all your health is restored and half of your armor bar. And I always run that with the Dark Winter and the Scorpio. It's just one of my most favorite, you know, DPS builds in this game right now. And then lastly, we got Foundry Bulwark over here at the Federal Emergency Bunker area. So remember, the chest and the backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive, so you got to keep that in mind when farming for this. Otherwise, what you can run is Emperor's Guard knee pads with 1% armor regen, and then put Bellstone Armory on it for more armor regen, because you want to run this as a tank set. The rest of the loot is light machine guns at West End area, so you got 2 exotic LMGs, the Bullet King and the Pestilence. The Bullet King you never have to reload, but the base damage is a little bit lower. And then you got the Pestilence, which the base damage is a lot higher, and the damage tick you can get over 1,000,000 per tick, especially with that Negotiator's Dilemma build that I mentioned earlier. But of course the reload spec on it is like 6.5 seconds. You know, with my Perfect Brace build, I can get it down to about 2 seconds. And if I have enough cards, I'll put it there or in the pinned comment below. If you guys just check the pinned comment below, it'll be there for sure. Otherwise, the named LMGs that are in the bottom left overlay, most of them are pretty good. I like the new Reliable with Perfectly Optimized, the Good Times. The Black Friday is a Dark Zone exclusive though. And really, that's about it. I'll mention real quick these last 2 over here before we go to the east side. So we got rifles at DCD. You got 2 exotics, the Merciless and the Diamondback. The Merciless, just its recoil is all over the place. So in lieu of that, you're going to have to run 3-piece Striker or put Braced on your chest piece, or run weapon handling on 3 to 6 pieces of your gear. And then for Diamondback, it hits really hard. The Agonizing Bite talent is pretty great, but it only has 5 shots in its magazine or clip. Otherwise, I recommend the named rifles like Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot, and then of course the Surge with Perfect Spike. Those are 2 amazing rifles that drop in the light zone. And of course the Harmony with Perfectly in Sync is a Dark Zone exclusive, unfortunately, but give the Surge a try. Sometimes it's actually better. And then of course lastly, Walker Harrison Co over here at the White House area. You can farm the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter on it. Now that does 125% of the last killing blow that you did, which is an outrageous number. It's in the 20 millions. So it's definitely worth running on any headshot damage build where you're just shooting everybody's head whenever you can. Alright guys, now let's go check out the east side. Alright, agents, east side target loot highlights. Starting off with the gear sets, let's start off future initiative over here at southwest. So of course the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusive, just like Foundry Bulwark over on the west side. But no worries guys, because I got you. Alp Summit chest piece with empathetic resolve and a Murakami backpack with safeguard. That is a great non-exclusive, healer build. Next up, we got Eclipse Protocol Judiciary Square. I got a great fire damage build. That's 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, and then of course the Imperial Dynasty holster with 1 piece of Golan gear for an extra 10% status effects. And I always run that with, of course, the stem, the stem launcher or chem launcher, fire starter, and then the Stinger Hive. And the last 2 we got is True Patriot at Grand Washington Hotel. My favorite, this is my second favorite build in this game, DPS-wise, DPS hybrid build-wise. This thing can just sustain everything, all the way up to Legendary Strongholds, Legendary Summit. You could solo all the way up to 4-man group with this one set. Now, the first one's going to be 4-piece True Patriot, and then, of course, the Memento backpack and a Sokolov chest with Intimidate, and you run the Lady Death and the Mop with 10% armor on kill, which you could pick up a really good rolled one right here today at the theater. It's located right here. Or if you want to run the Chameleon with it, you could just swap that Sokolov chest piece out for a Fenris chest piece with Intimidate, and it still shreds, but it shreds with the Chameleon instead of the Lady Death or some other SMG that you want to use. And last but not least, we got Rigger at East Mall area. Great control point area to farm for back-to-back. Now, Rigger is really great, I really like this set for the instant cooldowns instead of 30-second cooldowns. I'm still messing with it a lot more, but for right now, what I've been doing is I had the same build that the other guy did, but I was just using 4-piece Rigger, the Vile Mask, and a China Light chest piece with Unbreakable on it. And that's the way that I like to run it. I don't know, I was just a subscriber had showed me that today, and then I noticed some differences in my build versus his, and that's the one I've been cooking up lately. So I don't know, how great it is over 4-piece hardwired. You guys tell me below what you think, please. For normal targeted loot, let's start off with, of course, Badger Tough at Capitol Building, so you can farm for that 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable. That thing is always worth farming for. It comes with 170k armor, and then you could roll crit hit chance or crit hit damage on the second or third attribute slot. And remember, the optimization station costs are going down 75% by February 2nd. So there's going to be heavy reductions in the cost for it, so keep that in mind. And it's also great if you want to donate it for the Ridgeway's Pride Project Part 1. Next up, we got chest pieces at American History Museum. Now, definitely worth farming for the Tardigrade. It's an exotic armor chest piece that gives you a lot of bonus armor to you and your team. It's like Unbreakable, but way more powerful, and it gives it to everyone in your team instead of just yourself. And then, of course, you got Ridgeway's Pride, but you need to first actually, do the project before it joins the general targeted loot pool. If it already has, great. Or if you're with someone like me who's already unlocked it, then someone like me could drop it. So always let your teammates know what you're farming for, and vice versa. Next up, we got Golan gear over here at Federal Triangle. So you can, of course, farm for the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked. Always worth, farming for that for a good roll, because you want it on that ongoing directive damage build, that bleed damage build. You can't use the Eclipse Protocol backpack anymore all by itself. So you need the Anarchist Cookbook for that. And then the last few suggestions I'm going to make is Murakami at Viewpoint Museum. This is something I've been personally farming for lately because I like having a lot of extra skill duration on my turret and drone build. And I have a new one that I'd like to come out with that utilizes the Memento. I did one for the PTS, and I'm thinking about just doing an update with it with all the things I've learned. But one of the things I've learned is, to add more duration than skill haste actually when you use the Memento turret drone build. And then, of course, the last one over here is Empress at Downtown East. I will put my, so far, the best turret and drone build I've put out in the top right card now. And that, of course, is 3-piece Empress, 2-piece Hana U, and then, of course, the Waveform holster with kinetic momentum on the chest and the Force Multiplier backpack. You always want to run the Capacitor as your main, and then the Harmony or something, or the Surge as your secondary weapon. And, of course, run the Assault Turret and Striker Drone. You could take care of any content in the game under all directives. Otherwise, there's 2 named ones like Caesar's Guard with Perfectly Skilled, I think, or Perfectly Skilled, and then the battery pack comes with Perfectly Calculated. And the battery pack is also on sale with Cassie this week as well. Now let's go check out New York City, guys. Alright agents, finally New York City target loot highlights, starting off with the main highlights since I skipped tip of the spear from now on. We got gloves over here at 2 bridges. You can farm the BTSU data gloves, which grants overcharge to you or any ally that's skill tier 6. And then of course you got Alp Summit at Stranded Tanker if you need to find a chest piece with that empathetic resolve on it, or a Richter Kaiser over here if you need a backpack with safeguard on it. And then we got knee pads at Financial District. You got 2 exotics, the Ninja Bike Messenger for run and gun, vault to vault, you get 25% bonus armor and instantly reload your weapon. And then the Sawyer's knee pads, you just sit still and every second, up to 30 seconds, you get up to 30% weapon damage, but as soon as you move, you start slowly losing it by 1%. And then of course you can also farm for the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage targets out of cover. That's multiplicative damage, the best type of damage in this game. And even if they're Overlord, it doesn't really matter. They just go great on any DPS build. And, Overlord isn't farmable today from what it looks like. And just for an example, like right here, Petrov at Liberty Island, you could farm the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor, which of course is always great for any LMG build or stacking damage to armor. Now you got 2 options. You could farm Petrov or you could farm Gloves. Either way, you'll get them, but you have a less, a smaller loot pool with Petrov than you do with Gloves. So that's why you would want to farm Petrov and why you would want to farm the brand over the type no matter what. And then of course next up we got backpacks over here at Wall Street. You got 2 exotic backpacks in this game, the Memento with kill confirmed and Acosta's Go Bag with 1 in the hand. I rarely ever use Acosta's Go Bag, but I know it grants overcharge as well as a lot of other things, so it might be worth checking out. But the Memento I know for sure is just probably my favorite exotic gear piece in this entire game. It goes on basically any type of build, just like the Scorpio. And even the Scorpio and the Memento work super well together, so just overall it's really worth farming for that Memento backpack. And then lastly, I'll recommend China Light up here at Pathway Park. If you guys are trying to put together that 4-piece hardwired or 4-piece rigger gear set that I mentioned earlier, then I would definitely farm China Light today if you need a good chest piece. You can put glass cannon on it, or what I do is I put unbreakable on it. Alright, that looks to be it for me for New York City. Alright agents, well that's it for your daily farming guide today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider pressing the subscribe and like buttons below, and if not, just go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Always remember to check the video description and pinned comment below for links to support my channel like Shadow Gaming merch, my Discord, we got a clan Shadow Crew on all platforms. And then of course there's all sorts of useful stuff for you guys as well. I got gear and weapon spreadsheets, the weekly vendor reset website, all sorts of stuff. Just check it out. And then of course one last shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the extra support you guys give me. If anyone else would like to become a member, you can click the join button below. Otherwise, take care guys, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care agents.